So if you want to put thick line or thin line, you can change. Then the color of the line, yeah. So if you want to put red line, you can also put red lines.
I don't want to label these two, so I'm kind of going backwards what I want to show you. Alright, so that's what it looked like when you first start. If I wanted to label, say for example, the 10 and the 20 and the 30 meter contour, just select them and then enable the label. It moves
So you see,
over there to show
you can check
labeled.
the different contour line you can set in a different way. So if you want it to be in the center, you want it to be bigger for that particular line, then you can do so. You can do 1, 2, 3, then 5 is very big, then 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, then 10 is another thick line.
You can also change the weight, so those would be a little bit heavier than the other ones. The line style, there's several different styles to choose from. And when you're all done, just say go ahead and generate the contours. You won't see the color fills inside of here, nor will you see the labels unless you click on preview. And in preview, you'll have everything the way it would be in your final DXF file, because it is the contouring and high pack. Let's do a full contour work up here.
So this is the full contour. I'll just show you the example of how what
kind of contours do we want? No, typically 2D. If your contour package or your DXF package has a problem with complex polylines, you may have to go to one of these 2002 lines. Line does not. Minimum leg is the minimum distance along the B-spline polyline. So the bigger the number, the smoother your contours are going to be. When you make it too big, you can actually move them on one side of the
Okay,
scene.
so when it says
a contour polygon that has a surface area less than square meters or square feet. Enable smooth.
Okay, so minimum leg, this one is actually how smooth your line is going to be. Because you know when they generate the contour line, it does by one line, then line like that. So if you make it very big, then it will start to become a very smooth line. But if you make it very small, then you'll see it's a very defined contour. Sometimes if you put it too small, it's very difficult to see the contour because it becomes very messy. So you can put a bigger line, and that how you do that is by changing the minimum leg. So the bigger the line, the more smoother it will be.
มันทำเป็นปลายลายหลุดไปเลยอ่ะมันไม่ตรงจริงถ้าเราตั้งค่าน้อยมันก็ได้อยากไปทำตัวเลข
เส้น8.0นะครับเส้นมันต้องวิ่งผ่าน8.0นะครับแต่มันจะเอาโค้งอย่างเดียวเลยจะวิ่งไปผ่าน8.0
Okay. Yeah, done already, but
jig-jags in the contours.
looking for
Different lines and or labels and solid areas. The contour step is how often you want a contour every 10 years. And then my attributes, I'm going to go ahead and label them. 300 will make the labels 25 so you can see them. Give it an output name, contours, and then hit export. That's all done. If you have preview, it'll give you a better idea what the final result is. Such will be your labels. So those would be every 300 feet or meters along the contour. So contouring inside of Tin Model.
Okay, so like I said earlier, you can output the files as XYZ, or you can do it in DXF. Okay, so you can also do the MTX file, you can also change into a tin model. So you see over here, if you have all the single beam lines, right, then you want to make into one big model, you can use the tin model, input all the single beam line inside, and then convert to one tin model. So you see, it will become a lot more nicer to show. So this is for single beam.
ที่เหมือนที่เราเจอคือเราที่เราอย่างน้ำมาคือมันเป็นคุณก็มีอยู่แล้วหรือว่าแต่เราก็เอามาทำเป็นตินเจอได้เหมือนกันมันหยาบมันแต่ละแนวมันหาไม่เหมือนใน
นี่ครับอันนี้พี่ทราบใช่ไหมครับว่าไอตัวเมนูนี้ไอตัวฟังก์ชันเนี้ยใช้สำหรับทำอะไร
เคยใช้อยู่พอดีผมไม่เคยใช้ครับจะได้โอเคครับพี่
Okay, so over here, when you start the tin model program in HiPack, you will see this. This is the input menu. So you can input different kinds of file. You can do like the main HSX file, or you can put the MPX or XYZ file. Remember yesterday, after you process, you save it. It will save in different format, right? So that format that you save from the process multi-beam data, you can input on the main input file. Then if you want to put in the line LNW file, you can put it under the plan lines. If you want to put in the channel file, the design channel, you can import the CHN file into here as well. So once you import everything, it will put it into one single tin model. It will generate one big model from all the files.
แม็กไอ้ตรงนี้ที่เรากดที่เราจริงเราเอาสุดท้ายไปอันนี้ที่กด
เอา XYZ
เอาแค่เดียว
แล้วก็ถ้าทำหน้าตัดก็เอา channel แบบแนวเป็นวิว
แต่ไอ้นี่ก็บอกว่ามันรับได้หลายตัวเลยเอา LNW นะเราแต่เราใช้คือ LNW นะแล้วก็แค่2ตัวใช่แต่ตัวนู้นมันคือเป็น data file
ข้อมูลที่เราเซฟเมื่อวานก็ใส่เข้าไปได้
แต่ที่เราใช้คือ LNW กับXYZ
เราใช้ LW เดียวเป็นหน้าตัดเป็นเพจที่เราออกแบบเป็นไฟล์ยูทูบชาแนลอ่ะ For now they use only LNW and XYZ.
Yeah, that's okay. You can just use XYZ and LNW, no problem. Yeah, if you have the other file format, you can also use. As long as it's
Can you explain more another file format?
like for example HSX. You know, just when you import the multi-beam file, you have the HSX file or the H2SX file.
H2 file.
Yeah, so this type of format is the HiPack format. XYZ is you can use everywhere. It's a global format, but HSX is a HiPack format. So you know when you do the HiPack multi-beam survey, the file is saved under HSX or H2SX. Yeah, so you can import this into the tin model directly. You don't have to change XYZ. But sometimes you, let's say you do a different survey in another place, but they are not using HiPack. Maybe they are using a different survey software. So they export XYZ and you send to you to process. Then you don't use HSX. It's already going to be XYZ. So you can import the XYZ file and then still do a tin model based on that because it's a global format.
มันถูกแล้วแหละที่บอกก็จะมาแบบเพื่อนกันอยู่อะไรนั่นแหละไอ้เอกแค่แต่ตัวเดียวตัวเมนอยู่แล้วนะเข้าไปนี่มันดูกินเดียวได้เลย
แล้วข้อมูล data XYZ มีเอาเทียบกันได้นะแบบว่าข้อมูลเก่าข้อมูลใหม่เนี่ยเอาสองหมดมาเทียบกัน
Can you compare XYZ data when you do survey 2 times? Can you compare them?
You want to compare the depth. So actually that is under a different, it's not from the tin model itself.
Overlay.
Yeah, you can overlay, but that is not under the tin model. That is more for the post-processing. I will try and check for you later on how you can do it. Yeah, but there is a way of doing that actually. If you want to put two on top of each other.
But overlay easy.
Yeah, there is a particular program for that. I will try to get that program later, and I will let me just check first. I know that there is inside iPad that you have that functionality.
คนที่สองมันใส่อะไรต้องที่สอง
second data file later data file that has to be reading
Additional file. What is it for?
Oh,
Have this
no, because when you are putting in the file, if let's say you are using two multi-beam data, you can put it together in one tin model. Do you get what I mean?
ก็มันมีข้อมูลของในเว็บไซต์ Data เนี่ยมากกว่านี้แล้วก็ใส่ที่สอง
Okay, like for example, you do two survey, right? Today I do survey, tomorrow I do survey. So yesterday I have one XYZ, today I have another XYZ. So I want to combine the two XYZ. You can put this additional file. So you can combine the data together.
So the first XYZ are made input file
Yeah.
and the survey on the second day are additional.
ไอ้เว็บไซต์มาใส่คนละวันกันนะแต่ว่ามันคงมาได้
But this is still going to export only one tin model. It won't export two. This is you're combining the data into one tin model.
อืม
Yeah.
อันแรกเป็นข้อมูลของที่การเซอร์เวย์วันแรก ส่วน additional บรรทัดที่สองเป็นข้อมูลการทำเซอร์เวย์วันเซอร์เวย์วันที่สองแล้วก็มันจะออกมาเป็นซีโมเดลอันเดียวกัน
ใช้เว็บไซต์เหมือนกัน
แล้วก็เอาที่จริงแล้วก็คุมดำ
รูปเป็นทีเดียวเลย แต่นี่คือมันใช้ในการที่ต่อไม่ได้เราเลือกมาทั้งหมดเลยว่าอยากเป็นคนทีเดียวนี่ไอ้ที่นี่ตัวใหม่มันดีมันมีแหล่งรีซอสกันอยู่ด้วยเพราะว่ามันก็ต้องใช้ที่นั่นนะที่สองหมุนเยอะนะก็น่าจะดีกว่าโอเค
Okay?
Yeah.
So some of the things I want to just go through at the bottom here, I will go through in the next slides, is what it means by tin max side, and over here when you have remove narrow triangle and boundary and align the tin with the LNW. I will go through now with the subsequent slides. Okay, so the first thing you see here is max side. If you put for the tin model, the max side is very small, then for each triangle, right, it will only limit itself to, like for example here 25 meter. Then over here, it won't connect because it's too far away. But if you put 100, then it will connect because it has a limit of 100. So if you want to have very high resolution and you don't want to do any interpolation of the tin model, then you can put it as a small maximum side of the triangle. So each triangle will be very small. Like if you put a bigger triangle, then you have a very big model that is all interpolated data. Okay? Okay, so another one is you have here is align the tin with LNW. So remember earlier I was saying you can import your plan line file inside, right? So once you import the plan line file, you see here it will create a triangle along the line. So it will use the data of the line, like for example in single beam. You don't want to use just the single beam line, you want to have a straight line along the plane line, then you can do this. But if you do like that, then sometimes what you have is you have a tin model that is with a lot of straight line, which some people don't like. So if you don't want to do with the straight line, you can just untick the align tin with the LNW. Then it will just generate a very smooth contour line, I mean a smooth tin model. But this is only for single beam, not for multi beam.
ที่งานของบี
So if you want a smooth line, you take it on a
Don't take it.
ไม่ติดมันเป็น
Because if you take it, then it will just align everything with the survey line. Like what you see over here.
ถ้าเราติ๊กเนี่ยมันหมายมันเข้าใจว่าเป็นข้อมูลด้วยมันจะไปคำนวณ
มันจะมองภาพออกมาจะเป็นเส้นตรงๆอย่างนี้มันจะไม่สวย
มันผิดพลาดเลยนะมันขึ้นฝั่ง
ตรงนี้เราต้องใส่ตรงนี้ให้มันตรงนี้
ถ้าต้องเป็นมันตีขึ้นบก
มันมันคำนวณแรงขึ้นหมดเลยมันมันหยกมันคำนวณหมด
ถ้ามีของแม่ผมก็บอกเนี่ย
ใช่
ถ้าเขาเหรียญก็ตีขึ้นเราต้องการปรับ
ไอ้บนต่ำ
เราได้ต้องตัดยืดไว้
ใส่ผ้าตรงนี้
เพราะว่า
ประมาณสัก200นะเพราะว่าผ้ามันยาวประมาณ2,000 เมตรนะมันเป็นก็จะไม่ยาวเกิน2,000เราใส่ตัวนี้ก็500เกิดมันก็จะไม่ยาวเกิน500เพราะอันที่มันยาวเกิน500นี่มันก็จะไม่ขึ้น
หรือไม่ขึ้นฝั่งที่หลายเพราะว่าต้องมาตรงนี้มันสามารถกินได้หมดไหมกินกิโลนึง
Material model at Landsbank we have two basin.
Yeah.
Basin. Two basin. Yeah. When we do a tin model, but on land here, areas are calculated.
Oh, yeah, so that's why you know when you do the thin max side,
Yeah.
for this time you must put very small. Because if you put the thin max side big, then it will start to cross everywhere. But if you do it as small, maybe you can put 1 meter. Then you cannot cross.
This is
Yeah, because you see, if it's like this, if the thin max go to 100, then everywhere you try to adhere all this point. And this point, you will try to cross.
yeah. In
But
try to
if,
cross.
if you put the thin max go to 5 meter, then you can only go 5 meter. But here you cannot go because there is no point. So it will stop. You see? It will only be maximum 5 meter.
For example, this one about 500 meters.
Yeah, so you cannot cross. If you put maximum triangle is 5 meter, you cannot cross to the other side. But
If 100 meter.
if 100 meter, if this is 500, right?
Yeah.
If you put 100 meter, then you will try to cross here. You see? Yeah. But if you put 5 meter, you cannot cross because you can only cross here. Right? You cannot cross here. So you will get a very defined.
แต่รอยพวกมันตรงนี้มันยังคำนวณอยู่ใช่ป่ะ
พื้นที่แลนด์เรานี่ยาว500นี่แต่เราใส่ตินแค่5 เมตรมันก็เป็นห่างกันแค่ระยะ5 เมตรถ้าเราใส่เป็น 1,000 เนี่ย
มันก็ครอบหมด
มันยาวข้ามมาเลย
มันคล่อมทุกจุดที่มีความลึกมันคำนวณเท่าวิ่งกันหม
for
ด
that 500 meter, what is the thing that's
No, they should try to, like, you should try to define it, like, firstly, you see over here, you have to put it in such a way that when you have the contour of the land, try to make sure that it doesn't have the ability to cross. So, if let's say, you can also put 1 meter, you don't have to put 5 meters, you can put 1 meter or less. But if you do like that, then you must also see what is the size of your tin model, because it can become a very big file.
Yeah.
But it's very high resolution, right? Then you will try to go around. Another method is also about the boundary. You can remove the narrow triangles at the boundary, which I'll show you now. So when you put a boundary, you will not try to cross the boundary.
เราจะสร้างเป็นบอลลี่ให้อีกทีเพราะว่าถ้าเกิดเราอย่างไรไม่ฟังไฟล์เดียวไฟล์จะเยอะมากถ้าเราใส่เป็น1 เมตรคือว่ามันละเอียดมากรู้ว่า
แต่ถ้าหลายคนจะเออเฮ้ยทุกคนได้การ
แล้วบอลลี่มันไม่คำนวณออกนอกบอลลี่แต่ต่อไป
So you see over here, this is when you do remove narrow triangles at the boundary.
มันตอนไหนเนี่ยโดนต้องมีสิ่งที่
ใช่นี่มันปีกโค้งมันตั้งแต่กิโล18ยาวอย่างนี้เลยนะ
So over here, right, like you can see here, when you remove the narrow triangles from the boundary, normally it's like this. You will cross, right? When you remove this, you will only stay here. You won't cross over, because this is the boundary. You will try not to cross into the boundary.
อันนี้นี่คือ it's mean you make boundary first or after in model.
No. What it does is that, okay, you know when you do your survey, right?
Yeah.
It will have a natural boundary for the survey.
Yeah.
So it will not cross over the boundary. So like for example, your NPX file, the matrix file is just your real data, right? That has a boundary. So when you import into your tin model, you will not go outside the boundary to make the tin model. So like now, if let's say you got the river, right? You have the NPX file. So if you don't put the boundary limit, I mean if you don't remove the narrow triangle, then you will keep trying to cross into the river model. But if you put this remove triangle from the boundary, then you will keep the boundary of the NPX.
Take in software.
Yeah, take in the tin model generator. So if you take this, then it will just keep it to the boundary of the NPX. It will not create outside of the boundary.
ผมไปติ๊กเองเดินได้เรียนเองตรงนั้นมีคนติ๊กเองต้องอยู่เนี่ยเราวิ่ง
trying to work out.
Yeah, sure.
How to make a boundary with again or monitor?
No, okay, so the boundary itself is not unique. It's actually part of NPX file. When you save when you create the NPX file, it has its own boundary for the data. It's not you are not creating the boundary.
The PX file can have this. So they import MTX file.
Yeah, you import the NPX file.
ตอนที่จะเอา
That's
ไฟล์
a
ใส่
big
เข้าไป
file, yeah.
But this is it single beam data? This is single beam data.
เรียนจะท
So with single beam data is a bit more complicated because it's not an MPX file that you're using. You're using the line that is created from a single beam. So usually for that, it's like earlier, you need to align the tin with the NNW file, right? And then there's different method for actually, if you can create the tin, you can edit also on the tin. And you know in the MV Max, like SB Max, when you import into SB Max and you do the processing, you can export it out as with just the boundary of the line. Later I can try and do, and then we can try to practice together.
Yeah.
Try to see how to do it.
ของจริง
good good
MTX
ไม่เราไม่ใช้ NB Max แบบแต่งถ้าเราใช้ NB Max มาเราทำแรกมันส่วนนั้นมันจะมีแต่นี่ที่เราทำเราไม่ได้ใช้ NB Max เลยว่าอย่างนี้เราไปเรียนต่อไปลองเอางานอีกแล้วไป
When you're doing volume, it's very useful to be able to click your tin model using a border file. So I'm going to select the border file here. You can see the area. We can cut either inclusive or exclusive, depending on when you made the border file, and what you're interested in, inside or outside. And then I can just go ahead and use the scissors. I will then
Okay, you
seal
see
off
this
the
border
ends,
file?
creating new triangles at those ends, and allow me to do volume calculations just inside the poly.
So you see, you generate the tin model. What you can do is you can create a border file. The border file is a different program inside here where you can do a .brd file. So that border file you can actually put into your tin model and cut everything away. So like now you have this, right? If you create a border file, you can put the border file onto your tin and cut out the rest of the data.
so how to do border file
ถ้าตัดได้ดีเลยนะตัวง่ายเลยนะมันล้วนข้ามฝั่งไปนู้นเลยยาวเลย
Okay, you see this border editor. Come, I show you. Okay, you see here under editors, you see the board shape editor. Then you have a border editor. So the border editor, you can actually put in the easting and northing, and then you can create your border.
excuse me
Yeah.
could you try on his computer you can plug his computer into the screen
Yeah. I'm just. Let me just. Just give me a second. Okay. No, I just try this. Just play around with it. Okay, so over here, where do you want to put the border?
ถ้าสนใจมาดูได้นะครับ
So you want to put like this, right?
ทำไมไม่ให้เขาเอาขึ้นก่อน
เขาบอกเขาขอลองเล่นดูครับ
เดี๋ยวเขาลองเช็คไอ้ตัวข้อมูลก่อนนะครับแล้วเดี๋ยวเขาขึ้นก่อนดู
Mm.